Hello, I'm Seth.
Hi, I'm Ishita. And today, hello everyone. So welcome to Task Automation in Python workshop. So as Seth introduced himself, I'm Ishita and we'll be your speakers for today. In this workshop, we will go through the basics of task automation, such as what is automation, why is it beneficial, etc. And most frequently asked questions and work on Python scripts that involve automation. So the floor is open to questions throughout the presentation, and you can either write in the chat or DM either one of us, and we'll answer the questions at the end of the presentation. And if there's any time you find that our voices are soft, can you please notify us as well? So this is our agenda for today: Python for task automation, the Webbot Library, the live coding of Python scripts, which you would be doing at the end of which you'll be doing alongside us, and then a fun little challenge to test your understanding about automation. So without further ado, let's go ahead. So what is Python automation? So we'll be talking about the definitions, capabilities, and examples. So automation is just cobbling together a script coding. And when it comes to scripting, tasks that relate to digital media, you'd be hard pressed to find a more suitable language than Python. Python is a hugely popular open source scripting language that's used to write all kinds of open source software. Okay, so we'll tell you about automation again. So automation comes from the root word automatic. Automatic, as you all know, means a device or process that works by itself with little to no human control. For example, our traffic lights. They have a fixed timing to show each light. It requires the flow of traffic. It regulates the flow of traffic at an intersection. The only time it requires human intervention is for repairs or maintenance. The automatic configuration of the traffic lights mean that humans do not have to manually stand at the junction for signals. People can concentrate to do more complex tasks then. Python automation is just creative and time-saving scripts that we write in the Python programming language, which will do a list of repetitive tasks with the help of automation. For myself, if I find that I'm doing some kind of monotonous tasks more than 3 times in a row, I'm already thinking about how I might be able to automate it and have my computer do all the work for me. Simply put, we can write simple Python scripts to reduce our assistance in any tasks. Automation is used to offload common repetitive tasks to a system. So let's look at an example that happens frequently on your desktop. You have a folder with a lot of cached files that keeps getting added on your browser or on your websites. A cache is a set of temporary files used by a program or the operating system. Sometimes the cache in Windows can slow down your PC or cause other problems. The temporary files is sorry. Cache is found in the disk cleanup program and your file explorer history. So you can either manually delete the files and then restart your comp and then repeat the process again. Okay, so we are looking at what the data that is found, the cache files that are found on your laptops. They are either formatted incorrectly, incorrect, incomplete, or flawed. And then to what automated cleanup does is that it standardizes, validates, deduplicates, and analyzes if it's of the data. So in the automated script, the script will be able to read the files and delete it as soon as you run it. So it eases your task really, like a lot. Automation has several advantages. The efficiency of the task increases. Machines do not deviate from the task and will do it continuously. Unlike humans, where you would be needing a break every now and then and maybe procrastinating at some points. The second thing is the accuracy increases too. A machine like the desktop has a great speed than a human working on it, such as typing. It won't make human errors such as spelling mistakes or wrong indentations. It is also cost effective because you do not need to hire another person and pay them extra money for doing the codes that a machine can do for you. Okay, I'll pass the time to Seth on how to start up your Webbot library. So we have 3 operating systems to work on: Windows, Mac OS, and we have Windows, Mac OS, and Linux to work on. So let's go ahead with it. I think Seth is having some time. We'll go ahead in a minute. Okay, I think Seth's having a bit of difficulties, so like some system difficulties, so he'll join us back later. I will go through how to start up your Webbot library in Windows. So personally, I feel like it's very easy to go ahead. So first of all, open your command prompt that you'll find at the left corner of your laptop. And once you're in it, type command prompt. You would find, I will go through a live demonstration for you at the end of it. Okay, then you type pip install webbot, and then it will install for you. It will take some time, but you will have the whole site package installed inside. I will give you some time to go ahead and download the Webbot library. So all you need to do is write pip install Webbot as soon as you go into command prompts. I'll resume at 1:51 as soon as everyone is done with the installation.
So I'm speaking from my laptop at the moment. So okay, just to be clear, in order for this to work, you need to have Python installed. So pip is included with Python to allow you to install packages. So if for those who have issues where pip is not recognized as a, so some people are telling me that they don't, the command prompt is telling me that pip is not recognized. It means that either you don't have Python installed or you have uninstalled pip. So you try reinstalling Python. Anything from 3.6 to 3.9 should be fine. And then try running the command again. Okay, we'll be giving more time so that for those who don't have Python installed to install Python. So to install Python, you would go to python.org and then select under the downloads, just select to download Python 3.9.5, which is the latest version. I will send a link in the chat to where you can download Python if you need it. If you have Python, yeah, Python is the okay. Python is either is included with Python when you download it, so you should have it.
Since there are some issues detected, we'll stay here for a while longer, about 2 more minutes, and then we'll go ahead with Mac OS and Linux.
If you successfully install it and if you go to idle, you should be able to try running Webbot. So if you go to idle, you try typing help Webbot. There should be some help that comes out. If not, you say that it doesn't. Webbot is not a recognized library. So that's how you can try and check if you have Webbot installed.
For the new participants, we are installing the Webbot library that's going to be needed in our codes later. So let me just go through how to set it up in Windows again. Okay, so we are using the Windows icon, and then you press Command Prompt in it or CMD, and then the right pip install Webbot in it. So it will install.
Invalid syntax for what are you trying to run? It just says invalid syntax from your command prompt.
Okay, since there are some issues being with the Windows installation of WebBot, we can go ahead with because there's more instructions later on how to fully allow permission for the Windows to happen, for the WebBot to take place. So we will go ahead with Mac and Linux to do it, because I know you guys have been we will go through installation for you too. So we'll come back to Windows again once everyone has sorted out the issues. So Seth, would you be able to go ahead with Mac? And Seth is helping out to sort out the Windows issues, so I will go ahead with Mac. So for Mac users, go to Launchpad, and then in Launchpad, you'll find others. So in the others, or if your terminal is already in the main page, go to Terminal. And then Terminal, do the same thing as how the Windows users did, which was pip install webbot. And I'll give you a few minutes to go ahead with this too. And then we'll come to Linux. And then we'll go back to Windows again for how to allow permission for everyone. If there are any errors encountered with the Mac users, please feel free to write in the chat box. I hope this is not an error recurring, but use command prompt in Windows to write in your pip web install webbot and not in idle. So are the Mac users okay with installing webbot? Is there any issues? If there's no issues, we can go ahead with Linux. Okay, so let's go through how to start up Webbot Library in Linux. So it is quite simple. You go to terminal and you type pip install Webbot. It's the basic step for all of them, and it should be in lowercase. Okay, and you need Python and pip installed. And if there's any errors, please voice out your concerns, and we will amend it as soon as possible.
So, as mentioned, this should work for any Linux distro, and whether you use it on a VM should also be fine. As long when you install your VM on VMware or VirtualBox, as long you had all the dependencies installed correctly for the Linux user, it should be fine. And anyways, Python is included. Should be included in some distros, so you should be fine for the Linux user.
So are the issues for Windows resolved yet? Are there any more issues going on? If there isn't, then at 204, we will go back to Windows and allow permission for it to run on your desktop.
Okay, so seems like Linux is fine. So, hmm. Okay, so if you do pip, so for the CTSS student, if you do Python and pip version, you can if it returns a pip version, then maybe try Python dash and pip dash install Webbot instead. I'll just type out the command instead.
So I will go back to the Windows page since Linux is fine. There are still participants joining in. Hi, we are installing Webbot in our labs in our desktop. So if you have Windows, go to command prompt and download pip install Webbot. Type in pip install Webbot.
Okay, so for those who have issues with where you pip is unrecognized and you do have Python installed, so type in a new command which is py-m pip install Webbot. So that should work because I think like Mr. Huang mentioned that you might not have your path configured correctly for pip. So by doing the py instead, it starts up Python and then it will with permission error, try running command prompt in administrator mode. So to do that, go to start. Then when you search command prompt, on the right there should be something called run as administrator. So you can do that. You can try that. So the issue might be due to it not being able to write to the folder. So if you go to start menu and you search cmd, so on the right hand side, there's a run as administrator. So try that instead. You should be able to install it without updating pip. So you can just install and ignore the update for now. So it tells you the install is successful, you should be okay.
Okay, so I feel like the issues have almost resolved. So for the people who have already successfully installed Webbot, let's go ahead and how to allow permissions for it to run on your idle or any of the Python users you use. So go to File Explorer, and then in File Explorer, go to your C drive, and there go to Program Files, Python 36, go to your lib, side packages, Webbot drivers. I'm going to leave this for a while for you to go until you reach drivers. So in 1 minute, I'll go ahead. Okay, yes, do note if it's not Python 36, it depends on what Python version you have installed.
Access denied as in when you try to install on command prompt or in idle when you try to import Webbot. Access denied. Can you copy the error message? Because this might is it when you try to run Webbot and it tells you that you cannot access the Chrome driver? Yeah, okay, so access denied Chrome Windows.exe. Yeah, follow what we're going through right now. This will allow the permissions to access the Chrome drivers.
Because I think almost everyone's going to crash into this because you have to manually give it permission.
Because by default, Windows doesn't allow Python to access the Chrome Windows. So just follow yes, this is for Windows. The instruction to give permission is for Windows.
Windows.
For the Linux and Mac users should be fine. You usually do not need to do this when I tested it. Okay, so once you navigate to the drivers folder for Windows user, there should be a file chrome_windows.exe. You can't find your Python folder for just know that for now you cannot find Python folder, it may not be Python 36 like I mentioned. Try it. Okay, so now we're moving on how to give permissions. Okay, so you right click the chrome_windows.exe and click properties, and under the security tabs, click edit. Okay, so this will allow you to give permissions for the Chrome Windows, and this will resolve the permission error. So after that, you click allow under full control and click apply. Once you do that, then it should resolve your access denied, the permission error. So once you do this, you can retry again, and if you still have errors, let us know.
Okay, after yeah, go ahead, sir.
Okay, I think I'll screen share my slide to show you what you should see. Give me a I wanted the how to go to the folder, so we're going back to the path to the folder.
Okay, what to do after getting Webbot?
Okay, we'll be going back to the first slide on how to give permissions to navigate to the folder first. So this is how you navigate. You navigate to the folder here first. Some of you may have the Python file, Python folder in the C drive. It may not be in program files. So let me share my side. I'm not host here for some reason. Where's OS? C drive. This will be your C drive for the Windows users. Sorry, hold on, I can't share my screen at the moment because I am not co-host for some reason.
Just give us a moment.
Okay, maybe Shisa, you stop sharing because I can't take over if I'm not co-host. If you stop sharing, I should be able to take over.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So some of you, okay, so this is my C drive. So some of you, the instruction is like to go to program files and then find Python. Some of you may have Python installed outside of program files, which is in your C drive. So for those, once you find your Python file, you'll be safe. Navigate to Python 39 or 36, depending on the version. Library, side packages. Then after that, you'll find Webbot. So Webbot, drivers, and then Chrome Windows. So you right click this, properties, and after that, security. So then you see this, edit, and then give full control to allow. In my case, mine hasn't been given full control, but it still works because I have some other, I've done other stuff to allow it to still run. But so what you do is click allow. So sometimes you may need to allow users also. So administrator and system should be automatically given full control, but sometimes you need to give the user full control as well. So you click apply, okay, and you should be able to do like something like from Webbot import browser. So if you do that and it doesn't throw up any permission errors, you should be good to go. Okay,
I will share the screen
what
again.
to do in LIB? Okay, I think
Go to side packages.
so. Site packages, Webbot drivers. So you go to the site when you're in the library folder, you need to find site packages. The site packages folder, then Webbot folder, then driver folder.
I think there are multiple library folders, so go to the one with the capital L. Okay, so once in the drivers, Chrome _ Windows.x. Right click it, okay? And then press Properties, Security tab, and press Edit. And allow permissions for all 5 groups.
If there's something with Python, you can actually uninstall Python on the Windows if you want to try using Windows. If you want to stick to Linux, then that's fine. But don't install, as long as you just download the Python 3.9.5 installer, there should be an option to either upgrade the old version or uninstall completely. So you can try uninstalling and reinstalling Python. So that should fix if your install had some issues. You just see pip no webbot, like in your library folder, as in like within your library folder and side packages, you only see pip and you don't see webbot. Is that what you're saying? Okay, that means that you did not install webbot correctly. That means it's not installed. So try installing it again with either the pip install webbot or the py-n pip. So try running the command I sent check again. Downloaded Webbot but can't find. So seems like a few people can't find the Webbot.
I'll present the screen again.
Do make sure you're in the correct folder. But if you see the pip library, you should be in the correct folder. Yes. Wait, sorry. If you see pip, you might be in the scripts folder actually. So you need to go to like lib and then side packages. Just make sure you're in the correct folder. The command to install pip webbot. Okay, just try checking whether in the correct folder first.
Pip install webbot.
So command I'm just sorry, I sent a command to person. File is yes. So if you do, because if you see pip, you may be in the wrong folder actually. Because I don't see pip in my side packages folder or in the lib, so you might be in the wrong folder. Just double check you're in the correct folder. For the person who said that they can only see pip and not webbot. But I just pip hash. Okay, so you said that you only saw you only see pip and not webbot. I have a feeling that you might be in the wrong folder. So I will share my screen. So Ishita, can you stop sharing? Because I'm not co-host. I can't override anyone sharing.
I stop sharing.
Okay. So if you're in your Python 39 folder, so if you see pip, I have a feeling you may be in the scripts folder. If this is what you see, for the user who say that they see pip, you may be in the scripts folder. You want to be in this folder, lib, side packages, then scroll down to find webbot. So the libraries the files you see inside packages will be quite different from mine because I have a lot of other stuff installed, but you just need to find webbot and then drivers and then Chrome Windows. Because within side packages, for me, I don't see any folders that has pip. So I have a feeling that you were in the wrong folder and you were in scripts instead, because scripts is the one that has pip. Just feeling that you might be in the wrong folder. So just double confirm you are in lib and not scripts. you're inside packages. Do you see a Webbot a folder named Webbot? So it's WEBBOT, just WEBBOT, not the one with the distro or. I don't have the, okay, no, there are two pips, pip and pip dash 20. Okay, so are you saying you don't see the ACS Barker student? Are you saying you don't see a Webbot folder? Okay, I don't have the Python. You don't see a Webbot folder inside packages. Okay, do you have more than one version of Python installed? You have more than one version of Python installed. Try checking the other Python version. Because then the command prompt may have been running the other Python version, so it installed into the other Python versions folder instead. So try checking the other Python version folder. Okay, I don't have the Python file. I'm not the. Do we do anything for Linux? No, Linux should be fine. To double confirm, if you have idle or some other developing environment, just try running from Webbot import browser. So I'll type that out.
Can I know from a reaction, is everyone done with installing their Webbot and is successfully running?
If you try the command I sent in the chat and there's no permission errors or some other error, you should be good to go. So just try to confirm that your Webbot is correctly installed. So for the Barker student, do let me know if you can find Webbot in the other Python version folder. No, don't paste it in the Linux terminal. Go to, okay, you're using Kali, right? Kali Linux. That's for ethical hacking. Okay, hacking. So, I don't recall what IDE Kali is included, but it should have MU. Does it have MU? Your okay, you should have a Python developing environment. So you run the command within the environment, not terminal, because this is Python code. So if you don't have a developing environment, just download one. OSC maybe. Sorry, I don't understand what you mean by that. Okay, never mind. I'm just checking what developing environment you should have for Linux. Yeah, Kali should have Python included, so you should have IDE already installed. So just try. I think I can run Python in, but after pasting that, nothing is shown. Is that supposed to? Yes, if you run it in terminal, okay, if nothing happened, nothing is shown, that means you're not having any errors, which is good. Lah. So if you run Python terminal, I'm assuming you type Python enter, so you entered Python and then you type in command. Then if that's the case and it doesn't return any errors, then you should be good to go. Stop Python, but can't find the Python 13. Okay, never mind. I'm kind of confused with the other message, but Okay, if you can't find the Python 39 folder, like I mentioned, it may not be Python 39. It depends on the Python version you have, and it may be in the C drive, or it may be in or it may be inside your program files folder, which is also inside the C drive. So just check whether it's in the C drive or whether it's in the program files folder.
I feel like there's only a few people who are unable to install
Yeah, I
this.
think quite a number of the errors have been resolved.
So we can go ahead with the next segment since a lot of people show the reaction.
Hold on. So I think the organizers want to move the people who have installation issues to the breakout room so we can help you. So those who do have issues, do raise it up now, so at least then they can help you separately. So for now, we'll be moving on because majority of people seem to have the issues resolved. Not many people are mentioning that they have any more issues.
And they're ready to go.
Yep.
Okay, so let's move along to the second segment, the one that everyone's been waiting for. So we'll be talking about Webbot libraries and the feature-rich automation that uses Selenium for all kind of automation with websites. Okay. Okay. Ding dong. Let's go ahead with this. So Web Browser Automation Library, which is built upon the Selenium framework and works at a much higher level and eliminates much of the code you would need in Selenium. So for the people who are going to go into the breakout rooms, by the time you guys come in, it will be okay. We will go on a relatively okay pace so that you guys can catch up with our codes. Okay, Selenium, just hold on for a second. Okay, Selenium framework. Selenium is Selenium is actually a testing tool to see if a website works correctly in a certain way through scripting, but we repurpose it for automating repetitive tasks so that it is easier for you to go ahead with common processes without much effort in it. So I'll give the time back to Seth, who will go through. Hold up, I think there's some technical issue going on.
Sorry, hello?
Okay, yes, so Seth will be presenting to you the functions used in the Webbot libraries.
Okay. So this is one function. This is the first function that we'll be explaining. And after this explain this function, I'll explain some of the HTML stuff. So this is the click function. So what it does, it clicks an element. So it's like a mouse or trackpad click. So within the brackets, there are a few parameters to define the element you want to click. So text is the text of the element. Tag, ID, class name are also the they're the tag ID and class respectively of the element. So I'll just show you the inspector so that you know what I'm talking about. So I'll share screen now. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen. And so this is Wikipedia. I will hide this for a moment. Okay, so I'm going to go to the inspector. You can do this by clicking the menu. This should be the same for Google Chrome. More tools, developer tools. Okay, so then after this, you can click on this button to select an element. So just for example, I'll be showing the input field where you can type in a search. So for Wikipedia, so the tag will be input. So I'm just simplifying this quite a bit, but for the Webbot purposes, the tag is input, the ID is search input. In this case, there's no class and there's no text for this. But say you want to click on this English button, the text would be English. Okay, in this case, the tag will be strong. So in order to select element, again, you can do this, or the shortcut will be for Windows. In my case, is Control Shift C. Click on this, and the text is the text that is shown. Okay, and if I select another element, okay, so this element has a class. This will be the class name equivalent in for the Webbot, and again, the tag is span, SPAN. So we go back to the slides again. Okay, so okay, as I mentioned, the text is the text of the element that you see that you're trying to click. The tag, as mentioned earlier, was the tag. And again, ID and class name is also was what was shown in inspector. So moving on to number and loose match and multiple. Okay, so number is used when there are more than one elements with the same parameters that use define element. So you don't actually need to use text or all the parameters to define element. So you don't need to use text, tag, ID, class name. You can actually just use one or two or few. So when you do that, there might be a few elements with the same, for example, if you use the text to define the element, there might be multiple elements with the same text or multiple elements with the same tag, which is very common. So if there are multiple elements with the same parameters that you use to specify, use number to differentiate. So let's say there are 3 elements with the same text that you're trying to click. So then that means one of the elements will be number 1, number 2, and number 3. So in order to select, then you have to use the number function to select which element you want. So normally this defaults to 1, and if there's only one element that match the whatever parameters that you use to specify the element, then you need not use the number to specify the element. So it's not necessary to use number if you don't have any issues with multiple elements matching the conditions that you set. Okay. So exists returns true or false depending whether an element exists. So the parameters within the brackets are the exact same as click, just that the function returns true or false if the element which is specified exists. Okay, find elements returns a list of the elements that match the parameters that you set. Okay, so new tab opens a new tab, and go to will change the URL of the current tab you're on. So within the brackets, you enter the URL that you want to go to. Do know the URL has to be a string. So I'll be demonstrating the go to and new tab right now. Okay, so how to install Webbot? Wait, no, how to open Webbot? Okay, I'll address that first for now. So to open, you can't actually open Webbot, you just use Webbot. I'll be showing that right now. You will understand more when I open up Visual Studio. Let's share my screen. Okay. So this is the first example which I'll be showing GoTo. So how you use the Webbot and the browser is you use this from Webbot import browser, and so then this second line of code basically assigns this variable to browser. So you need not use browser as your name of your variable. It can be any name that you want to. Just make sure it doesn't clash with certain variables that you cannot use. So then after that, website equals to an input. So basically later the terminal will ask me to import website I want to go to. After that, it will go to website. So what this will do is that later it will open up a Chrome tab, a Chrome window, and then after that you change that tab URL to whatever URL I entered. So I will run this now. So I need to hide this. So I'll run the code. So this needs to be clear. Give me a moment. I think my Visual Studio has crashed again. So I'll run this in idle. Give me a moment to reset this. If you just give me a moment, I need to restart my Visual Studio. If not, I will run this in idle instead.
Okay, sorry. What tab are you talking about? The ACS student? Once the screen is started presenting, we'll go through the tabs again, and Seth would be able to show you how to get to the tab. That error happened even after accessing all the.
Okay, if Webbot cannot find the Chrome binary, okay, for Webbot cannot find the Chrome binary, okay, let me share screen to just show how to resolve this. Also, I have fixed my VSC issue. So there was some issue with selecting the correct Python. Okay, so for those who cannot find the Chrome binary, go to Program Files. So there should be a Google. You should have Google Chrome installed. So if you don't have Google Chrome installed, you need to have Google Chrome installed. So after that, you should have Google, and then after that, there should be Chrome. And here, there's actually the Chrome drivers. So all you need to do is you need to copy this Chrome folder, or you can copy the entire Google folder from Program Files, copy it to Program Files x86 and paste it here, so that the Google here, the Google folder and the Chrome folder within the x86 folder has the Chrome application. So this is for the Windows users. So try that and let me know. Okay, we'll be going back to Visual Studio, where I can show code again now that I have fixed the issue with my VSC. But okay, so as I mentioned, so the current tab is this. It's just data and there's nothing loaded. So if I use go to and I type a website, so like say google.com, after once I press enter, it will execute the next line, which will go to this website, which is now currently google.com, which is my input. So if I run this, you can see that it goes to google.com. Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, okay, hold on. Actually don't need this line of code. So if I mentioned it earlier, it can actually switch the current tab. So what this will do, you go to google.com, and when I just type something in, you'll switch. So this just shows you that it can be used to switch a tab. And later I'll show that new tab will open up a new tab, unlike go to, which changes the tab URL. So you can see that currently the tab is google.com, the current site is google.com. Type yes, it will change the link. So if I use new tab, and what this does is that, okay, I will close this to prevent my thing from crashing. So what this will do, it will open up a first website based on the input. After I open up another website based on the Okay, sorry, I just need to check that I was not crashing. But so you open up a first website, then you open up another website using the new tab. So this uses new tab, but earlier I used go to. So this will open up a new tab and it will not change the site, the site that my first tab is in. So just to show this. So okay. Okay, so you're asking what website I go to, and I'll use google.com. So the first tab is google.com. For the second tab, I will use youtube.com. You can see it opens up a new tab and it switches to the new tab that I opened to. And the new tab link is youtube.com. So now we're moving back to the slides to tell you about the other commands. I will stop sharing. Okay, wait, before that, the ECJC student who had issues with the Chrome binary, is it resolved now? Did copying over the Google and Chrome folder help? Just to check. Okay, yes. So that's good. So if anyone has the same issues where you try to run any of the Webbot commands and it tells you that you cannot find Chrome, so do make sure you have Google Chrome installed, and after that, if you need to, copy over the folder from program files to program files x86. Because I believe on default, Webbot tries to use the Chrome in program files x86 instead. How to get Webbot? Okay, you need to run pip install Webbot. So I'll just type pip install Webbot. So okay, so just run that command to install Webbot, and I think the BuildingBloCS admin will help you with the other setup procedures. Okay, anyways, we'll be moving on with the other commands. Okay, so get current URL returns the current URL of the current tab that you're in. So as I mentioned earlier, that Webbot can actually open multiple tabs. So the get current URL returns the tab you are on, and switches to the tab, and within the package you enter the tab number that you want to switch to. So I will explain how the numbering system works later. Actually, I will show you the code that I wrote. So, okay, let's see. Sorry. Okay, so the code here is very long, but it's only long because I need to open multiple tabs. I'm opening multiple tabs just so that I can demonstrate the count function, because I want to show the changes between when I open a new tab. So just explain, you will go to a first website, a second website here, then open up Wikipedia, Webbot documents, and later open up another tab. So afterwards, it will print the number of tabs. And after you open up another tab, then you count the number of tabs again. So you should be able to see later when it print out the number of tabs. You should be able to see that there's a difference of one tab, because between the two counts, I actually open another tab. So afterwards, after I do the opening the tab, you ask whether I want to switch to a tab, and I'll show you how the counting system works, and you switch to the tab which I input later, and you return the current URL of the tab I switched to. So that will just demonstrate the few functions. After that, you ask if you want to close the current tab, and that will show you the close current tab function, which will close the current tab I am on. And after I close it, it will run the get total tabs. So again, you should be able to see that you'll show the change in number of tabs. So after I close it. So I'll just run this now. So in shift it, and okay, so I will enter google.com, and after that YouTube So say I go Wikipedia. Okay, so you notice it says there are 5 tabs open, and there is so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tabs open. And okay, so after that you open another tab, and then you notice that, yeah, see, it says that there are 6 tabs open. So there are 6 tabs open. So enter the tab number you want to go to. So how the numbering system works is the last tab that opens is tab 1. But it means that Python was the last tab to open. So this will be tab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Say I want to go to the Wikipedia, this tab. This will be tab number 4. So if I enter 4, we'll switch to Wikipedia.org, and you're telling me that the tab is Wikipedia.org. And if I close the tab using the close current tab, it closes tab. So once you close the tab, the numbering is reset. By that I mean that this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and then this is 4. So the tab number isn't static. It changes as you open new tabs or close a tab. So to show that, if I type 4 again, it is youtube.com instead. Because like I mentioned, when you make tab changes, the tab number actually changes. So be going back to the slides to explain the other functions before we move on to showing the demo for them. Okay, it's clear. Hold on. Since my Linux got no, what do I do? Linux got no Chrome. It only has Chromium. Hold on. Let me just. Okay, it says that you are missing one required positional argument URL. So I assume you're trying to use the go to or new tab function. So within the okay, can we move back to the slides? The go to a new tab slides. Okay, so within them, you need to put in within the brackets, you need to put in the URL of the site you want to go to. So it needs to be a string. So you can do something like, so it needs to be something like this. I'll type out the chat. So the URL has to be a string. So something like, oops, I did not send it to everyone. Just copy that over again. So something like that command. So notice that within the brackets, I have the URL of the site I want to go to. So your error is that you probably did not put in the URL you want to go to. So for the one with no Chrome, Linux got no Chrome, what do I do? It only has Chromium. Okay, for that, I'll get back to you later, because I know there's a way to use Chromium and other browsers. Okay, so close current tab. I'll move back to the slides and the demonstration first. Could you copy and paste for opening 2 tabs, please? Sure. In fact, I believe the code should be shared with you, but okay, I will share the code that I used first. Okay, so close current tab, I demonstrated it earlier. It closes the current tab which the driver is controlling, and as mentioned, get total tabs returns the total number of tabs that are open. Okay, go back and go forward. Essentially, it's the go back or go forward button in browser, in like Google Chrome. Okay, so type will essentially type up the text that you specify, and so within the brackets, this is slightly different than the click or find or exist command function. So the first one you see is text, and this text, unlike the other functions, this text is the text that you want to type. So this is not the text of an element. So the into equals to, and then the 2 parentheses, that is the text of the element. So I'll share screen now to show what I mean by this. Okay, so if I go back to the, so say I want to type in this element. So the text will be what I want to type in. And the into I mentioned earlier is the text of the element. But you notice that in this input field there's no text. So what I mean by text is, hold on, if I can go to okay. Sorry, hold on a moment. So give me a moment. It's not loading properly. Okay. So this is the text field that you want to type into again. So again, if I go to Media Inspector, so you notice that this one has no text also. So if I go to, okay, so you notice that this one is a text in the element, unlike the Google page or the Wikipedia page. So this search the web is the element text, and this is what you put within the into field. So search the web is a text. So some input fields has text within them. So for example, if I go to if I go to Gmail, and if I go to sign in, you notice that here there's a text. So this email or phone or this search the web text is what you put within the into to specify the element that you want to go to. So then I'll be demonstrating the type function. So what this code do, it will go to google.com and it will type, and you ask me what I want to type within a certain what is the text I want to type in. So it will type the text, which is this, and the text input. So you will go to google.com, which means that this input field, you notice that the tag is input, which is what I used in my browser.type tag. Okay, so this means that you type the text into the input, the Google search input. So if I type Python, I'll type Python within the search field because I specified that I want to type in the text in a element with tag input. So you notice that it didn't actually make a search. You only typed it in. That's because you need to either press enter or press the search button. And we'll be telling you how to do that when I go back to the slides. Okay. Okay, so .save screenshot is something from a function from Selenium. So what this does, it will save a screenshot of the current window as a PNG file. So within the brackets, you need to specify the file name, so something like screenshot.png, and you can also optionally specify the path which you want to save the screenshot to, and I will show you how you can do this later. We'll be moving on first. Okay, but I'll be addressing some issues with on the slide. So for the NUSH student, like I mentioned, cannot find Chrome binary. You need to copy over the Chrome folder from program files to program files x86. So I'll just type. Okay, so press. So press will emulate a keyboard press. So the key within the bracket is the keyboard key that you want to press. So you can actually combine keys to press at the same time. So you can do something like Control Enter. And I'll show you how you can do this now. Take it over sharing. So in the previous example, like I mentioned, if you want to search, you need to press enter. So I mentioned that you can do using the press function. So the first 5 lines is exactly the same as the previous code, as you can see. Just that here there's another thing. So it will wait for my input. Then once I type something input, you'll press. So basically, this is the press function which I mentioned earlier. And within here is the key on the press. So the browser dot key dot whatever is standard. And then here is the key on press. So in this case, I'm going to press enter to make a search. So I use the dot. So it will be dot enter. So I run it. So this time, if I do this instead, so if I type Python, if you want to search, and you click, you press enter, you essentially press enter here, and you make a search. So we'll be going back to the slides now. So okay, sorry, hold on, let me see what is going on. Okay, so scroll scrolls horizontally by specified amount. So horizontally means left or right. So positive will be right, a positive amount value will be right, negative amount value will be left. And for scroll Y, you scroll up and down. So scrolling down would be a positive amount value, scrolling up is a negative amount value. Okay, so dot full screen will make the current window full screen. So you may notice that when it first initially opened all the Chrome tabs, it is not full screen. And I had to shift it to the left or right manually by using the Windows and arrow key buttons. So what the full screen window does, it makes the window full screen. So this is equivalent to pressing F11 when you're on Google Chrome. Okay, so maximize is different from full screen. So I mentioned that full screen is F11. Maximize is for Windows users, on the top right hand corner there's the middle button which is the maximize. So I will show that later. And minimize is same button and minimizing it. Let's show what I mean by full screen, maximize, and minimize. So if I share screen, so if I go here, you notice that, so this is minimized screen, so you can see that it's not full screen. So this is maximize and this will be minimized. So full screen is, okay, I'm pressing the F11 key on my keyboard now. And you notice the difference between full screen and maximize is that for full screen, you don't see any of the URL or the tabs. So if I exit full screen mode, okay, if I go maximize, you notice that the tabs and the URL is shown. Whereas in full screen mode, you don't actually see it. Okay, maybe going back to slides. Ishita, I think, is having some issues with the slides. Yeah. Okay, meanwhile, has the NUSH student, are you able to resolve your issue? Do you know what other issues do some of you guys still have? After the workshop, some of you can stay back if you have some issues or questions, and if we go over the time. Can you send this in Discord?
Okay, sorry for the delay here of the slides.
So I don't understand what the issue she's doing is asking. I insert code. Sorry, what? Okay, here the copy and paste is. Sorry, you want some of the code, is it? Okay, so may I know which code you want? I'll copy and paste it. Or you.
How about all 7 of them?
Actually, I believe you all should have access to the files. You know what, I'll just share the folder with the Google Drive folder with all the Python files. So at least that way you can access them, just download the Python files. It'll be easier for you guys. Okay, a moment.
Sorry, we had the impression that the Python files were shared, so now we're sharing it. And once you can get access to it, then you can try it out.
So I am only sharing the 7 demo files. Later I'll be uploading more files because there's some challenges for you and I don't want to upload answers at this point of time. The answers and the other demos later, I will share those later. So for now, the whatever demos that I've shown so far, I have already uploaded. I'm in the process of uploading it right now. Okay.
Where's the link file?
Hold
Link
on,
for the shared file.
I am currently shooter. Anyone on the internet can view. Done. So hold on, I'm pasting it right now. Okay.
Yep.
So okay, do not send on DM me privately. The answer to that is yes. Okay, so before we go on to challenges, I want to show some real life use cases or demos for this as to what automation can do. So like I mentioned earlier, automation can be used to replace something repetitive. So say one example is you need to send a daily email reminder for whatever reason. So you need to do this daily and you don't want to do it manually. So you can actually use this Webbot library to instead send an email for you. And I'll just demonstrate some sample code I've written that will go to Google, Gmail, will log in, and then after that it will compose the email, type it, and then send email. And then after that I'll explain how code works. Hold on. Human. Okay, full screen. Can't get this. Close. Okay, so the first 3 lines of code is the same. Okay, besides import time, this imports the time library, and I'll explain why you might want to import the time library and why I have a time.sleep here. But so this opens the txt file and it basically just reads lines and gets the user ID and password from a text file. So I don't actually type in here. And this also extracts the whatever to subject email I've typed in here. So this is not a Webbot thing. This is Python file interaction and stuff. But okay, so this is the Webbot stuff. So I just define the email site I want to go to. So this can be for in my case, Gmail. So you can be, I don't know, Hotmail, AOL, Yahoo, whatever other email site you go to. And you go to the site, you type okay, actually I should demonstrate this by going the URL, and I'll do it manually once so that you understand, so that I can show you what it does. So okay, so it goes to the thing. Not sure why this time it's different. It's probably because I have some cookies. Okay, you know what? Give me a moment. I need to run this so I can open up the exact copy of what. Okay, so let's go to this. It's odd, but give me a moment. I think something's wrong with this again. It keeps crashing. Hold on, I actually click something first. Wait a moment, I had to stop sharing so I can reset. Oh yeah, also I forgot to show one of the other codes. Yeah, forgot to show that. Okay, I should actually show this first state. Okay, I think I should show this code first, which demonstrates the. Okay, this goes to Wikipedia, and okay, I'll comment this out first. So you go to Wikipedia, you type within the search field. So a search field with tag input ID search input. So on so that would be equivalent to this search field. You type Python and you press enter, and after that you click on on something with the text Python programming language. So this will actually open up the article for Python. And then, so these two lines are commented, so it won't run. It'll save a screenshot to this folder with the name screenshot.png. So, like I mentioned, you have to specify the file you want to save it as. In this case, I specified the folder because I want to save it in this folder. So for now, there is no screenshots. I'm just showing you that there's no screenshots so that I will just show that it actually does save the screenshot. So there's nothing now. And if I run it, after it goes to this, it will save a screenshot. So if I run it now, also note that there's a full screen command, so make it full screen. So you go to full screen, then after you'll start typing. And it probably should have taken a screenshot by now. If I go to screenshot, notice that it has taken a screenshot. And also notice that the screenshot doesn't show any of the stuff at the top, like the tabs or the URL. So even if you go to maximize or maximize mode instead of full screen, it still will not show this. So there's no difference. So from your side, when you view it, a maximize and a full screen is different. However, when you take the screenshot, it will only be within the window. So just to show this, instead of this, I will do so I will just change the file name. Oh, I typed the command in wrongly. Hold on, sorry. Sorry, typed the command in wrongly.
Hi Seth, could you go through how to get the tag and ID of the inside the parameter and type? Because I think some people are not able to catch up to this through Wikipedia. Thank you.
Okay, so tag and ID. Okay, so again, open up Inspector 2. For those who don't know, there's a Control-Shift-I to work, or the menu button. Wait, am I sharing screen? Yeah, okay. I'm sharing screen. So menu button, more tools, and developer tools. Sorry, press the wrong button. This will be the same for Google Chrome, as far as I know. I'm just using Wikipedia because there's no cookies and it doesn't have the weird settings I have. So it's more standardized. So after you can use this option to select an element that you want to find. So say you want to click, okay, I should turn this off so it doesn't. So say you want to click on this English option. So you do this, you select the English thing by using this, the select element to select the English element. And then after that, you will come up with the details. So the tag is strong and the text is English. As you can see, well, text is English. So another example, say you want to type in this text in this search field, you will use the select thing to select it, and you notice that for this one there's more stuff. Okay, I will zoom in just so you can see better. Okay, that's probably a bit too much. Okay, so it's highlighted, and you can see that on the left side when I hover over this, the search field is highlighted. So the tag is input, and the ID is search input. So you can just copy this and paste it into your code when you need it. And for this case, there's no class name and okay, yeah, there's no class name. So for this, however, this element, which is the search button, there seems to be a class. So the class, okay, for Webbot, it's class name and not class. So in code, it has to be class name, but for the inspector, it says it's class. So this is the class name, and the tag in this case will be button, and there's no ID. So again, you have to go to the inspector too and select the element you want to interact with, and then you click on it, and then it will show you the relevant code, the HTML code. Okay, so I hope that answers the question. If not, you can type in the chat. Okay, so going back to the example, so earlier on I said that full screen and maximize is different. I'll be showing the maximize. So earlier on I spelled maximize wrongly, but I run it now. Okay, sorry. So you notice that it's maximized, and the difference is that you can see the tab and the URL at the top. Where if you run full screen, you won't be able to see this. And if I go back to my folder, the second screenshot, again, you notice that you don't see any of the stuff at the top, the tab or the URL details, even if you're in maximize. So it doesn't take, so the screenshot isn't the entire screen. It's actually only the page itself. Okay. And so to demonstrate scroll I will uncomment this line, so it will now run. So what this means is after it goes to the Python article, you scroll down, like I mentioned, positive value is down, negative value is up. You scroll down by a value of 2000. Then you take a screenshot. So I will rename the file. So that means that this new screenshot file should be slightly different from the previous screenshot, because I'm actually scrolling down before I take the screenshot. So it'll be a different part of the article. So code has ran, and you notice that again this page is different because it looks different because I scrolled down. So if I open up a screenshot, you notice that this part, okay, I can see this part is the same as this part. So it has scrolled down, and yes. So now if I uncomment the go back line to show the go back function. So you scroll down from the article and then you go back. So if you think about this, it means that you go back to the previous page. And the previous page, if you notice, is the page of multiple articles matching the Python search term. And then that means that a screenshot, if I rename this, should be of the previous page, which is the one with the articles available. So I run this to show you the go back function. So that was quite fast, but I'm not sure you noticed. It scrolled down and it went back. So the screenshot now should be on this page. And yeah, it matches. Okay, so I'll be moving back to the demo of the one where I told you making Python send an email. I'll let the code run first, and I'll explain later, so that at least it'll be easier for me to explain why I'm using time.sleep. So hide the meeting controls. So this is a test email account that I just created for this purposes, and so you notice that it sent a message, and if I view the message, it's sent to my my fellow host and one of my hosts for the other workshops, and it sent the email. So if I close this tab just to show you, okay, actually just go back. Okay, never mind. I think I should use this. Okay, so it will redirect you to the sign in page when you try to run it on Webbot. So because every time you open the Chrome tab in Webbot, it actually opens it. It's separate from your normal Google Chrome. But then what I mean is that all your accounts logged in on Chrome it won't be logged in here. It's separate. So there's no cookies, browser history, nothing. So what this means I need to log in. So it goes to the mail.google.com and Google automatically redirects you to sign in. So after that, I need to type. So it types into the user login, which it's a variable extracted from my text file, and it just extracts the user login, which I have typed in, and then afterwards it types the user login to a field with text input and into email or phone. So like I mentioned, the into is the text of the input field, which in this case is email or phone, and the tag is input. So if I just go to the inspector, so like this, the tag is input. Also, I need to mention that you might notice I'm not using class name. That's because this class has a space, and Python has an issue with classes that has a space in between. So if your element that you're interacting with has a class name where there's a space in between, you cannot use class as a way to define the element. Okay, so I'll be logging manually now just to run through the process manually. Okay, so now I need to type in the password. So if I shift this to the left, so you notice that I am typing the password. Okay, you might be wondering why there's a time lock sleep between the two codes. So after typing it presses enter. So pressing enter allows it to sign in. So watch closely. You notice that it takes a while to load before it goes to enter your password stage. So the issue if I don't use a time lock sleep, immediately after it presses enter, it tries to execute the code where it tries to type it. And immediately after I press enter, you notice that the field is not immediately available. So the issue is I don't wait. So the time.sleep function waits for the amount. In this case, it's 1 second because I have a 1 here. So what this does, it allows some time for the page to load. Because if I don't wait for it to load, the element doesn't exist. If the element doesn't exist, Python will throw up some errors where it can't find the element and the entire code won't work. Okay, so it types in the password into the tag, input into enter your password, and you can see the text is enter your password. So it's correct. So I will log in if I get password. Okay, afterwards it types in password, presses enter, and after that it sleeps because again the page takes a while to load. To prevent an error, you need to let the code wait for a while. So after that, I want to click the compose button so I can start composing email, and I use text equals compose. So you can see text is compose. So it clicks it and it types. So it types 2, which is what I got from here. So the 2 is okay, I can actually open the file. So I have 2 and I have the email addresses, the subject, and the email. So basically it so this is just some string slicing and whatnot because as you saw earlier in the text file, I had 2 subject and email, so I don't want that to be typed up. I only want the email address. Okay, actually should not have closed it. I only want the stuff in between the 2 quotation marks to be typed out. So for those who don't know, basically this slices a string, so it only gets the stuff here. I will not be explaining how that works, but all you need to know is that 2 is the 2 subjects, the subject, and email is the email, and it types 2 within a field with ID this and class this. So if I go Shift C, okay, sorry, okay, the issue is that I can't actually show you the 2 field because if I click out, it changes to recipients, and the ID is different for recipients. So I'll actually move on to the subject first. It doesn't like me a lot. Okay, so for the 2 field, notice that I did not select that, not the 2 field, sorry, the subject field. Notice that the ID is 8 8J, and the class name is AOT, and tag is input. So if I go back to the browser.type thing for the subject, you notice that the class name is correct. The ID is slightly different because I believe when I interacted with the compose thing, it switched, because I'm not sure if you noticed, but if I go here, if I click out of the first field, you notice it says recipient. But if I click in, it's 2, so it's actually different. So when I actually interacted with it manually, it's slightly different, but the class name remains the same. So for this should be the same. So if for the text field, when I type in an email, the ID is :90, and the class name is something that cannot be used. Like I mentioned, you cannot use class names with what's it called, with spaces in between. So if I try this now, okay. The thing keeps on changing every time you interact with it manually. You might notice that every time the ID and class name changes manually. Changes if I click around. But if I go back here, so basically what it does is it types in the to subject and email into the respective fields. I mentioned earlier you can actually press multiple keys at the same time. So you do this by combining the keys you want to press within the press function itself with plus. So this will press Control, then press Enter. So if you know to send an email in Gmail, the shortcut is Control Enter. So this presses Control then Enter at the same time. So this is different from using two separate presses, as that would be Control then Enter. This is Control Enter, which is different. So another practical use case of this, and which is actually also why I started using the Webbot Library, was because my school requires me to submit a health declaration due to COVID reasons, which basically means I need to say that I'm not having a fever, I'm not coughing, and whatnot. So that is a real world use case. So we need to submit this health declaration daily whenever we go to school. So what I did was I made a code that submits a declaration for me instead. So if I go here, open the file, so you notice that I am using Webbot, and this is the code, and it does a lot of clicking to click the fields to show which you'll be able to see later. So I just want to demonstrate and show this as a real world use case of automating some web page interactions with Webbot. So you notice that the elements actually take a while to load. I'm not sure you saw that this took a while to load. So again, this is a real website that you might need to use. So which is why I say the time or sleep function is very important. It's very useful when some websites take a while to load. So I found that when you're actually doing this for something that you actually do want to do, a real use case, you need to experiment a while with the sleep function, the sleep, to stop your code for a while, because like I said, websites do take a while to load and some take longer than others. So to be safe, I would recommend you do something maybe 1 or 2 seconds more than the actual use case, than what you actually observe, because it can also, the time to load can also be affected by your internet connection. So giving it some extra time to wait will account for users or with slow internet connection. So basically this is the code, and you notice that so the .save screenshot function, like I mentioned, you need to specify the location, and you need to use .png at the end of the file. So just to make sure that you know how to use .save screenshot, you need to specify the location, and you need to have .png at the end. You cannot just put in the name of the file. It may throw up some errors depending on what you're trying to do. So I'll be moving on to the challenge, just to test your understanding. And in case you do actually meet any errors or you have any questions and you're unable to do so, this is a good chance for you to experiment and so that you can ask questions now. Is there any way to wait for the browser to respond to be safe? Actually, yes, there is a Selenium function too, which is wait for elements or implicitly wait. We shall type that out. Okay. Okay, actually, I want to I think I want to show this first. I think I want to show this first. Oh, no more challenges. Apparently, we don't have time for challenges.
So we have some practices, but again, due to the lack of time, we'll show you the question and you can try themselves at home, and Seth will put the code in the Google Drive so you can check them out later.
Okay, but okay, first I will address the question to wait for browser to respond to be safe. So hold on. Okay, so this is the Webbot library documentations, which the link is this. You can do a simple Google search for Webbot. So if you scroll down, Selenium methods, there's actually a few methods to wait for the browser to load. So find it. Okay, implicitly wait. So statistically timeout to wait for an element to be found. So what you do, so what this does, it waits. So if the element you want to be found is not available, or you want it to you want to interact it is not found, you can do this first. You can use this command. So you wait for the set number of time, and if it's not available with after that time, then you throw up some errors. So this another wait function is this. This is the entire page to load. Wait for the entire page. This is for elements. So this is dot implicitly underscore wait. This is dot set underscore page underscore load underscore timeout. So this two function automatically waits until it can be found. So the dot sleep is a brute force method in a way that it waits the 6 seconds no matter what. Whereas this two will wait, and if it finds it, then you'll skip the rest of the wait time. So so I think we have to move on because there's quite a bit of a lack of time for now.
Yep, so I will show the question. And basically, it's a program that goes to Google and inputs your text and direct it to your first search result. Just the way that it was presented to you right now. For example, you search Python in your Google search engine, and it will direct you to the first URL, which is the python.org. And this
Okay.
is the icon.
So because we don't have time, I'll be skipping directly to tell you how to do this. So I will share screen.
Just briefly explain about it. Okay.
Yep. So where is the answer question? Okay. So quite simple actually. So it goes to Google, it takes in an input, and then you search the input, and then you click on something. I'll run it just to demonstrate. So this. So I'm gonna search Python. Brings me to the first search result. So if I go to this, if I go to google.com, which is the same website, okay, if you do a normal search, say press enter, it bring you to this. So the ads of course depend on cookies and the tracking, but okay, by first search result we mean the first result that isn't an ad, which is python.org. So there are a few ways to do this. Of course, you can go to the normal search and then find a way to scan for the first search result. But pressing I'm feeling lucky actually also brings you the first search result automatically. You go Python, and instead of that you press I'm feeling lucky instead of enter, brings you to the first search result, which you saw that was python.org. So what the code does is the click here clicks the I'm feeling lucky. So if I bring up my inspector and show you this, class is rnmpxc. you notice that tag is input and my class name is this. So it clicks on the unprint array button after it has typed in the code.
Okay, so hope you guys understood that, because you can always access the solution later. And we are at the end of our presentation. Thank you for staying.
Yep, thank you for listening to us.
Thank you. And yes, so any questions, the Discord chat is already sent into the Discord link is sent in the group in the chat function, and you can either contact us on email too.
So wait. So this is my Discord tag for the I will be in the BuildingBloCS Discord server. First. Yeah. Any specific channel to ask questions? I am not sure regarding what channel you are allowed to use. So you can just DM me, or you can write email. So DM me on Discord, or I don't think there's actually a channel that you can actually ask within. I'm not sure. I'll let the admins answer that state. I'm not sure that if there's a channel within the server itself. Yep. I'm not for the ACS Barker student. I'm not sure if you can stay back, because I have to wait for I've let the admins answer that, because there might be another event after this, so I'm not sure if you are allowed, because they're handling the um, admin work and the timings. Okay, how do this on, or can this be done on any browser? Yes, there can be. Selenium actually has an option to do this on any browser. Could you message me on Discord? I can get back to you with the instruction how to do this with Linux after I confirm the method to do so. I believe the tutorial will be uploaded on our BuildingBloCS channel. So for the DHS, just
Hi, can I just check that you guys are done with your workshop?
yeah, we are done.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So I'll just need to
Yeah.
conduct some post workshop.
Sure.
All right.
Minus
Okay.
this. All right. So